Most people when they're young, they dream about a car that sounds good, that looks good, that turns head around, but in reality, if you buy this car when you are very young, it might not be the best thing for your future. And in this video, we're going to discuss this exact subject, and that's why your first car should be a boring one. So let's go. When you are young, cars are emotional. You don't look at them like a financial decision. You look at them like an experience. And that's the case for a lot of young people, including me. When I was young, I was dreaming about the most expensive car that I can possibly afford. I'm sure you're imagining yourself how you're going to drive this car to your favorite places, to the gym, to the mall, and so on. Where do you like to drive? It's up to you. But the reality might not be exactly as you think. So when it's time to buy your first car, logic usually takes a step back. Emotion takes control. You start telling yourself that you are young and you should enjoy life. You tell yourself that you deserve something nice. You don't want to look broke. You don't want to drive something that feels ordinary. And without realizing it, you start choosing a car based on how it makes you feel, not on how it will actually affect your life. What most people don't realize is that they will not drive their car in a movie. They will drive the car in real life. And the real life is not that exciting all the time. Most of the driving will happen in traffic. You will drive when you are tired, when you are late, when it's raining, when you just want to get home as fast as possible. You will sit at red lights, you will look for parking, you will go to gym and all the places that I already explained to you. And that's the reality when you only have one car. And something interesting happens if you put a very nice and sporty car in this environment. The dream slowly turns into a responsibility. The car that once felt like freedom starts to feel expensive, stressful, and sometimes even uncomfortable. Suddenly, you are not thinking about how fast it is, you are thinking about how much fuel it uses, you are not thinking about how cool it looks. But more, you are thinking about how expensive the next repair might be. And that's when the emotional decisions start to feel heavy. Don't ask me where do I know this. Yes, from my personal experience. When you're buying your first car, you're not just buying the car itself. You are buying everything that comes with it for the next few months at least, if you decide to sell it faster for some reason. Of course, every month will be expensive, every month there will be maintenance, and every now and then something will break. And when it breaks on an exciting car, it usually costs more than you can expect. Of course, there are people who can afford a lot of cars and very expensive cars, but this video is not really for them. This video is for the people who have some money to buy a car but don't want to ruin their few years or at least months. When you are in your 20s, your financial life usually is not very stable. You are still building your career, you are still learning skills, you are still figuring out your direction. Your income is not by far at its peak and your savings might not be very large, and even if they are, listen to this. You don't want a big part of the money to go into the car. It changes the way you live, you become more careful with every decision, you think twice before spending money or anything else. And you start feeling a kind of quiet pressure that follows you every single day, depending on how expensive the car is. So this is what I call the hidden cost. You lost a bit of your freedom. The biggest problem with an exciting first car is not the price tag. The biggest problem is what it takes away from you. It takes away some of your freedom. When your car is expensive to maintain, you have less room to save. You have less room to invest, you have less room to travel and do anything else besides your car. You might want to change jobs, but you feel like you can't because you need a stable income for your expensive car. You might want to start something new, but monthly cost of the car make it feel a bit dangerous. You might think you want to move to another city, but the financial pressure keeps you where you are, especially if you buy the car in a leasing. I'm not saying that it's bad to lease a car, not by far, but if you lease a car and a big part of your monthly income goes into that car, I don't think it's very good. So let's keep it simple. If you have the money to buy the car, you don't have anything else to do with the money besides spending it on the car, I think it's better to buy it cash. But if you have the money and wanna do something else with them and also buy the car, and by something else I mean something that can produce you money, of course, I think it's good to lease the car. If you don't have money at all to buy the car and you wanna lease for it, in my opinion, you should not go for it. Now I want you to imagine the opposite scenario. Instead of buying something exciting, you choose something simple. The car doesn't impress anyone, it doesn't turn head, it doesn't sound special, it just works. It doesn't cost much to maintain and it doesn't stress you out every time something feels slightly off. What happens then is very different. You have more money left at the end of the month. You have more mental space because you are not constantly worried about repairs and expenses. You feel lighter, more flexible, and more in control of your own life, like everyone should feel, in my opinion, in order to feel happy. Because why you wanna buy this expensive car? You think that it will make you happy, but if you are really stressed about it, I don't think you will be very happy. So your life changes in a lot of good ways just because you have a slightly boring car. I'm not saying that it needs to be the cheapest car out there, but we'll get to there in a moment. Something interesting happens when you are young. The status feels very important. You care about how people think, you care about how successful you appear, and cars are one of the easiest ways to show status in these days. But unfortunately, the status is temporary. People notice your car for a few seconds, maybe they ask you a question, you may feel good, maybe they compliment it, then life moves on and everyone forgets that you have an expensive car. The payments stay, the repair stays, the fuel costs stay, and the stress stays. So you term long-term freedom for short-term attention, and that's rarely a good idea. I know there are people who truly love cars. For them, cars are not just objects, they are a real passion. They enjoy the mechanics, the driving, the feeling, and so on. For those people, an exciting car can make sense earlier in life. It's not just a status symbol, it's something that brings them genuine joy and meaning. So I'm not a hater of expensive cars when you are young if they really mean something to you. But many people are not like that. They don't care about the technical side, they don't track their cars, they don't work on them, and they just want the imagine, the sound, and the attention. Believe me when I tell you that's not passion, just only ego, and is not very healthy for your mind, in my honest and humble opinion. Now I want you to think about this in the long run. Your 20s are not just about enjoyment, they're about building the foundation of your life. This is the decade where you build your skills, your income, habits, and direction. The decisions you make in your 20s shape your 30s. If you spend these years making smart financial choices, your future becomes calmer and more stable, and you will have money to buy that expensive car with all your heart when you can really afford it. You enjoy it more because you are not afraid of every small expense. You can do one more burnout or one more drift just because you can afford new tires, for example, more often. So if you are young, your car should support your life, not control it. It should be something that helps you move, not something that slows you down financially. It should make your daily life easier and not that much stressful. Your first car is not a symbol of success, it's just a tool. And tools are supposed to make your life simpler, not harder. Most people want a car that feels exciting, that sounds good, and so on. But the smartest choice is often a simple, reliable, and a boring car. Because while everyone else is spending money on status, you are building something more valuable for your future. You are building skills, savings, freedom, and a lot more options in your life basically. A few years later, when your life is more stable and your income is stronger, you can buy a car that's truly exciting. Not because you need the image, but because you can actually afford that experience. And that's a completely different thing, because the best car is not the one that impresses people today, is the one that gives you the most freedom tomorrow and every single day of the rest of your life. Again, don't get me wrong, don't buy the cheapest car that you can find. Buy the car that you can literally afford. I know a lot of people love the Miatas and a lot of cars similar to this. Maybe you can get that one if it's cheap and it's also convenient for you. I don't know your taste, but I know that not spending all of your net worth when you are young in a car is the best decision that you can actually make. Buy a car that actually fits your life. You'll thank me later in 1 or 2 years if you make these decisions, and I really believe in this. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. If you also enjoyed the content, I would appreciate to subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye bye.